For Switzerland, the year 2026 didn't start with fireworks and celebration for everyone. Instead, it began with smoke, sirens, and a real tragedy. It was a dark start to the year that kind of pulled back the curtain on a nation that's facing some really profound questions about where it is now and where it's headed.
So, picture this. It's the early hours of January 1st, 2026. A New Year's party is in full swing at the fancy Alpine ski resort of Crans, Montana. But then, that celebration just turns into an absolute catastrophe. A moment that was supposed to be about joy becomes a scene of pure horror.
And the reality of what happened, well, it became clear very, very quickly. A fire, followed by a massive explosion at a bar called La Constellation, killed dozens of people. Nearly 100 more were injured, a lot of them seriously. It's just awful. A festive night turned into a national tragedy in an instant.
The fire itself broke out around 1:40 in the morning, and officially the authorities have said its origin is undetermined. But this incident didn't just devastate a small mountain town, it sent shockwaves across the entire country.
And this is where the story gets so much bigger, because that immediate, fiery tragedy happened against the backdrop of a much slower crisis. It's an existential one, really, facing the very mountains that define Switzerland's entire identity.
And that crisis, of course, is climate change. Its impact on Switzerland's iconic glaciers is, well, it's stark, and you can literally measure it. What's truly alarming is just how fast it's all happening.
Get this, Swiss glaciers have lost a quarter, 25% of their total ice volume. And that's not over the last century, that's just since 2015. The speed of this loss is just staggering.
And you can see the tangible losses just piling up. The year 2025, it was the fourth worst year ever recorded for ice melt. We're not just talking about some ice fields getting a little smaller. Over 1,000 small glaciers are just gone forever. The famous ice grotto at the Rhone Glacier, a tourist spot for generations, had to be abandoned. And the Vadret de Rims, once this sea of ice, is now the largest Swiss glacier to have vanished completely.
So, you've got these two huge crises hitting Switzerland. One sudden and tragic, the other slow-moving and vast. So how do people react? Well, after the Crans, Montana fire, the national conversation started almost immediately online, with people jumping in to debate what could have caused it.
And this is just classic Switzerland. On one side, you have people arguing that, hey, the fire regulations are way too lax, especially in these older mountain buildings. But almost immediately, a counter-argument pops up, and it's armed with data, pointing out that actually Switzerland has fewer fire deaths per person than the UK. It's not just about pointing fingers, it's a culture of really robust, evidence-based public debate. You see, this culture of debate isn't some accident. It is built right into the foundations of their political system, direct democracy. And it plays a huge role in shaping the entire national character.
So what does that actually mean? Well, at its core, it means the Swiss people have the final say. Through something called a popular initiative, any citizen can propose changes to the Constitution. And with referendums, they can challenge laws that have already been passed by Parliament. It gives people an incredible amount of power. Sure, it can slow things down sometimes, but it often leads to policies that almost everyone agrees on.
And just look at the sheer range of things they decide on, from deeply personal stuff like marriage equality and banning facial coverings, all the way to massive infrastructure projects like the Goddard Tunnel, and even national security and energy policy. The Swiss people are constantly directly involved in shaping their country's future.
But here's the twist. This nation, so defined by its old traditions of debate and direct democracy, is also looking aggressively toward the future. I mean, it is making huge bets on technology and infrastructure.
So in 2026, Switzerland is going all in on artificial intelligence. They've got a whole plan, they're improving their own open-source AI model, testing a special medical AI in hospitals, but the bigger goals are really strategic. They want what they call technological sovereignty, so they don't have to rely on foreign tech. And they're positioning themselves as a global hub by getting ready to host the AI Action Summit.
And this push for a digital future isn't happening in a vacuum. At the exact same time, they're making a massive investment in the physical world. The country is undertaking this once-in-a-generation overhaul of its already legendary rail network.
To make this happen, the Swiss parliament has approved a staggering 16 billion Swiss francs for a program they're calling Expansion Step 2035. This is not just a little upgrade, it's a massive national commitment to the future of their public transport.
So why the huge price tag? Well, they're looking ahead, and they see a tidal wave coming.
By 2040, they're projecting they'll need to handle 30% more passengers and a whopping 45% more freight traffic. So the goal is to build that capacity now so they're not completely overwhelmed later.
And don't think this is all just something on paper for the future. Nope, it's happening right now. The biggest timetable expansion in 2 decades just kicked off in December 2025. A brand new night train to Copenhagen is launching in April 2026. This is a long-term vision that is already delivering real results.
Okay, so let's take a step back. When you put all of these pieces together, the sudden tragedy, the slow-motion climate crisis, the ancient political traditions, and these super futuristic ambitions, you get a picture of a nation at a really profound crossroads.
And this right here is the Swiss paradox of 2026. On the one hand, you have a country grappling with immediate tragedy, the irreversible loss of its most iconic landscape, and a political system that's rooted deep in tradition. And on the other hand, it's pioneering cutting-edge AI, hosting global tech summits, and building one of the most advanced rail networks on the entire planet.
Which leaves us with this one, final, really powerful question. Can a country that is so deeply connected to its natural landscape and its unique political history successfully innovate and engineer its way through the defining crises of our time? That's the challenge, and that is the great test for Switzerland in 2026 and for all the years to come.